ton of utility waiting for them there, but no players. Bar those spams on the cross, the occasional nano, they should be safe enough. They've almost dropped Sushi on the return.
This is a pretty bold call. He's managed to find one just with his nano swarms though, so that's something. But yeah, playing retake versus DRX, who are one of the best afterplant teams in the world, you've got to have a set plan, and already looking to try and force RB out into the corner. He's got MAKO for support, and he's managed to dodge that aftershock. The Viper wall as well, already helping him out. The trades aren't going too badly until the cavalry arrives. 2 kills off the back of the nade. FOXZ left alone.
Yeah, Buzz has got the nade back online again because of that double kill. So the second that he's spotted, he's in a ton of trouble. You've also got the post-plant potential of just lobbing it through. All that means he has to move pretty quickly. And that makes it all too easy for DRX. 1-0 as they take the pistol here. We're looking for Talon to have a good start because, look, DRX are the kind of team that can definitely run away with a series. The number one thing I'm worried about in this game is getting inside their heads. I was speaking to Kan Yang yesterday, and he certainly seemed confident at the fact that, hey, this team's from our region. We know how to play those mind games.
Yeah, that's the thing. They know how to play the mind games. They know how to beat teams from their region. They've been doing it for an incredibly long time, making it to numerous international events. But Talon, this Xerxia core, have always been good at pulling off those upsets. The only problem is it's normally earlier in the tournament. When it comes to the late game, they're going to have to throw in a bit of spice. But Ascent was always the map they could do it on, and that will be our second in the pool.
I could have expected Garnets to go for a bit more aggression, but he has peeled back after a little bit of initial B main. And they're looking for a north side crunch on the back of the utility they'd seen thrown down and where it came from. I think maybe there's some bodies for them to fight there. But
it's retake A again.
Yeah, the turret's seen them on A. Players are up, trapped inside of the dish. So a retake here is the best play. And I mean, realistically for Talon, they've got these players boxed in. You know, they can force the exits. If they're going to actually try to blitz in and take the fights, though, you know, you've got classics. It's going to be very hard to get value out of this round.
Yeah, I'm looking at Garnet with a couple of stuns. That might be enough to actually just hold some players in. The thing is, though, I imagine DRX, especially with their current plant spot, are going to be able to exit fairly quickly and not to have too many issues on the way back through. I am also looking at FOXZ with a fragment. So they might just try and throw that extra utility in just to try and hold them into the site. And with DRX picking off a couple of players here and there, I don't know how much damage they're going to be able to do.
That's got to be coming close to a record. On Buzz, he's managed to find himself his 4th kill. There it is, finally. That's his first kill with a rifle. First kill with anything other than a nade, you know? And his first 3 kills here, all coming off the back of a free piece of utility. Certainly being a scary player to come up against when it's that, but he's cleaning up low HP players. Ultimately avoiding fights being taken by his teammates and allowing them to survive, you know, with a lot more guns. They don't come out of it in too bad a shape.
Yeah, I think as well, early round, maybe you can get those sort of expectations. It's an agent that he hasn't played massively, one that we sort of lean him towards into the jet, so I'll be intrigued to see how his RAZE actually looks now we have weapons on the other side, but with still a rifle in his hands and the rest of the team full investing into SMGs, there's still a chance. And they're just doing it again. They're running straight into the same A setup.
Yeah, they certainly are. This time, though, there's a little bit of a difference. The flank play coming through from Talon is quick. 2 players looking to move in. KILLJOY utility positioned slightly differently, and this is to not be removed and instead delay your opponents, allowing that flank to come in a little bit quicker. Plant has come through, but this is all part of the plan for Talon. It's the main aggression. All 5 players will be coming from here, essentially becoming the attackers in this round as they open the door, create 2 different avenues, and the angle nets them the first kill. Smoke's removed. The blind fire and the molly, though, that's going to cause some problems. I mean, time starts to be the real issue, and with weaker weapons and players running into them, they might actually be able to net a lot here on DRX. Just comes down to whether they can win those opening fights or not, and so far it is back and forth, but with the damage done, STAX has to be the one to clutch this out. 1 versus 3, Stinger in hand, he'll catch the diffuser. The time's not quite that far gone.
Yeah, still made this round incredibly costly, taking down 3 weapons and having plenty to buy back up with into the next round. It's not a bad retake from Talon, and I like some of the ideas, like using the knife to almost distract as they go through the door, basically create a couple of angles that have to be hit, but even still, just almost turtling up on the site, a complete variation to what we've seen in terms of DRX so far. I do worry now that the guns come back in if it's going to be the same success for Talon.
Yeah, you know, the reality is DRX in a round like that, as you said, they take a different approach because they got the weaker weapons. They're trying to use their numbers to their advantage. They're seeing that full push come through. They're fighting the B main angle. I guess the problem for now is that although the delay has been there, they haven't really found that early engagement, and now they're seeing where that aggression's been coming in from. Talon did this in the previous round, a little bit slower. This time, though, with an orbital strike, they are going right down into their spawn. MAKO isolated, and he doesn't need any help. He's just stopped them all by himself, and a 5v3 comes out of it. Talon, that was an attempt at something different, but one I don't think we're likely to see again.
Well, yeah, they basically just used the stim of Brim to just sprint all the way down through tree. Tried to win some of those opening duels, but that's the thing. There might not be a Sentinel on the other side, but MAKO, you watch him on a map like Icebox, he's always fantastic on those lurk plays. Now it comes down to SUHIBOYS. What can he get done here?
Well, he's in a ton of trouble. Every piece of utility on the other team coming at him. He somehow survived this long. And got a double! SUHIBOYS! How has he gotten away with that? They're in with a chance, indeed, a probability. Just Buzz in a 1 versus 2. They know that he's in main. This round should have been done. But a monumental hold of that site. Buzz will use his blast pack to speed it up and look for a plant on B. A 1v2 retake. Sure, you've got a lockdown, but low HP on SUHIBOYS. It's anyone's round right now, but this should have already been DRX's.
Yeah, and that was a scenario where I expected him to get next to nothing with how much utility that was pushed into his position. But now the clock is at least in his favor. 85 HP, a little bit of shields alongside it, and a very low SUHIBOYS. And that's the thing. They're so far detached from this scenario that he could be anywhere. They're going to have to clear all the close angles, probably expecting him to fight for an additional kill before getting into this clutch. And even using the knife and it being dodged, they have no clue where he is.
Such a problem with that plant spot. SUHIBOYS, 1 HP, easiest kill for Buzz at the start. And now he's even lit up FOXZ. It should be the round, but Talon again with low HP and against all odds. They have come back into this round and found 2-2. An unbelievable start to their series.
Absolutely no way. The BS meter has gone straight off the charts. We're in round number 4. Just the absurdity of the initial aggression. SUHIBOYS somehow managing to find a double spray down with a Bulldog.
How is that all the same round?
And then the 1 HP from FOXZ to land in. All it took was a single bullet, and Buzz, well, you can already see the frustration. They should be in the lead here.
Absolutely, yeah, DRX certainly feeling a little bit frustrated after that when we saw it in the cams. This could be an easy game right now. Economy ruined from Talon, but instead they're having to fight back with weaker weapons. And that's what's leading the pace here. The stinger on STAX as they attempt to take the site, but it is another retake setup from Talon, something they've done a lot, but they might not know there's already a player up close, and Buzz has managed to completely catch them off guard. A blindsiding push.
He's got Showstopper as well. He could just try and take him out. SUHIBOYS again is going to land a shot that, well, maybe unexpected. Garnets found one through the Viper's pit as well. This advantage diminishing, and even though this pit is in play, if they can find MAKO, or more importantly, force him out of it, using that lockdown, this could become a problem. Already one going back in the other direction. Garnet trying to slide across and catch them, and somehow we've ended in a 2v2 with more utility going down. He has got a double off the back of a snakebite in combination with a Nightfall. These rounds are ridiculous.
And the worst part is, and I'm sure we're going to see a replay of it, just keep an eye on the KO. He had the knife in hand, went to throw the 0 point through, and just a disaster. It comes in a second too late. The snake bite was already fired. Here it is. And then the suppression comes in, but the round was already over. That double kill, clean. It was their only chance to get on it right there and then.
But that's the thing. The Viper's pit would have already brought them low. The Nightfall made sure they were low. And they wouldn't have heard the snake bite either because their sound was removed. It's just a filthy combination. And they're just continuing this bombardment of the A site. They're running it down again.
At the end of the day, you know, we said it, this team's playing the retake. Hold on, though, this time they're fighting right away, running out of the spawn. They weren't on the site a moment ago. And now Talon are mounting a full defense. Just pistols here, weaknesses all around. And CRWS is left in what is a 1v2. STAX now passing away. The CRWS retrieving a rifle. Ammo is the main problem. He would have won that round without it. A headshot needed to RB, but he's gonna TP. It's a fake TP, no it's not, okay. He's going all the way, committing it on the B site, grabbing the plant, and setting himself up 150 HP versus 22.
Again, positioning unknown. A completely different afterplant to the last one we saw. Sat back up in the tower, just waiting. And they might even just consider on CRWS that it's going to be the same position as before. Only 22 HP, and the timing's going to go the way of RB. Perfectly positioned that this time they win the clutch. But again, that was a light investment. That was just some pistols. And Talon still make it incredibly close.
Oh, they do. Yeah, the fact that they have everybody sat in the defender spawn and they just come running out to take those fights, pistols in hand. That scrappy duel was all they needed. Bridge the gap of those rifles with just sheer numbers.
One enemy remaining.
And this, if there were 3 more bullets there, that round could have been over in that moment. We end up going all the way back in 4-2. DRX, they've stumbled. They've had some faults, but despite that, the lead is still most certainly theirs. And CRWS off to a flying start on main, but they've traded him out immediately, and it didn't look like he had any sort of way out of there, any support, just a brave B main push that's now left B wide open.
Yeah, he loves just running it down. It seems like the immediate response is nuts. And okay, this time they get 1 at least, but it's still not the greatest of trades. Now, a Rolling Thunder available for a retake here. So the rest of the players are just pushing all the way through. The thing is, the info should be there. They've already gone all the way down, and now that wraparound should start coming in on the other side of the map. But again, they've allowed DRX into this afterplant, and it's going to have to be a stellar retake from Talon.
I'm even just going to call for it now. At about the 60-second mark, there was nothing happening, but if we want to chuck a replay up at the halftime, or after this round, that was kind of weird. Like, they had a great setup on A main, but having to play retake sucks. Rolling Thunder can help fighting your way back in. Garnet's already down. FOXZ able to find 1, but carving out this map control doesn't seem possible. Too many bodies here, and it's MAKO. He's been phenomenal so far, but not able to deliver this time. It's left on to Buzz in the 1v2. He spotted them both. The flash is good. Too good, as SUHIBOYS claims another victim. Talon pushed to 3.
They're doing incredibly well in these retakes, but they're always so scrappy. Like, it just seems like fights that they shouldn't be winning, sprinting through some of the players of DRX on the wraparound and maybe not expecting, I think it was FOXZ, just to be lurking around their own utility. It's another one on the board. Well, you start to look at the economy of DRX. I think they're going to try and slow this one down, not because the game's getting out of control, but just because they're not really having any clean rounds. Every single time they're being caught by something.
Yeah, you know, I was really curious. As I said, at that 60-second mark, we had 3 players around the A site. CRWS had already fallen long before that with the B main push. They were watching for aggression coming out of B main with JITBOYS, who had rotated off A a little bit. But the thing was, the setup they had in main was gorgeous. Carving out that early map control got Garnets into a corner. They had a KILLJOY turret baiting for him, so that when those players, you know, faced CRWS perhaps, or pressured B and decided to go back, whatever it was, once they came to A main, they'd see the turret, they'd think it's a similar setup, maybe a KILLJOY playing around the door or something like that, quite a passive hold, and with CRWS aggression on B main, that probably should funnel them to A if he wins the fight or just doesn't end up going out like he did. It was a great setup, like great little bait play in A main to give Garnets like just free reign over those players. The problem being that CRWS ran it down in the first couple seconds, died in a 1-to-1 trade. They lost their map control, and then why would DRX go back towards A? They know that B's wide open. At least they slowly pushed up to it and found it a lot easier. But I am curious to see if Talon attempt that kind of control again, that bait setup with a KILLJOY turret.
CRWS has a judge.
It won't be right now, but in a future round, something to keep an eye on.
They're definitely not trying it now. They've also got Orbital Strike again. RB going to try and take that initial control. I think they're wary at this stage of how aggressive that man likes to be. Already though. Whoa! Just the spam through, but the trade is quick. And then hiding in the smoke is CRWS. He's going to run through it. So aggressive in every move he makes. And the rest of the team once more are going to try and set up for this retake, Mitch. They've got lockdown. They've also got overdrive, but they're running straight through.
So fast. That flash there actually going to catch MAKO. The stun coming in from Garnets. He's trying to find some players, and there they are, right in front of his face. Swinging out to try and deal with this. Looks like he'll catch one in heaven. The stun is good. It needs to go a little deeper, actually. The charge comes out. That'll do it. Looking now for the last man, MAKO. Inside his orb, out he goes, and there's two players staring right at him. That defuse will come through on SUHIBOYS once again. And we end up 4-4. A fantastic start for Talon, it has to be said. Being equal at this point, already a positive, but in the context of how they've gotten here, they could be looking at a 6-2 scoreline in their favor.
But that's the thing as well, in these retakes, a lot of what it comes down to, firstly, okay, they've got the ultimates, but just the stuns that are being placed onto the players on site, there's not really anywhere for them to go, and you can see the frustration already starting to come in for Termi on the other side. It's like, they are putting themselves in position which DRX are renowned for pulling off victories, and they are losing most of them now.
It's been a strange start to this map. Talon's map pick certainly has a unique taste to it. Look at this push-up again. They love their aggression in the early round, and you need it on a map like Fracture. This time it's the heavier side of the map they're pushing on. A main, lots of players here. And CRWS, of course he's going again. We hear conversations about how, oh, IGL Duelist is good because you can go out and fight and just keep dueling. Well, it looks like CRWS has that idea. Even against Sheriffs, he spots 5 players and he's like, I'm just going to keep going, keep fighting. In the end, that results in him getting the sight and a rifle.
Oh, he's not going to be able to wallbang him. They're actually going to get the plant.
Oh,
never mind.
Eventually
gets him. Now, there is still a Nightfall, and we saw this in prior rounds, how they were able to combo utility with the Nightfall to get kills, but this seems very optimistic. They need something extra, and with FOXZ already taking one out, MAKO is left to try and win a 1 versus 4. He's at least got himself a gun, but that won't matter. Garnet at this point is just feeling so unbelievably confident with that Neon. And well, after what was an initial decent start for DRX, Talon now have the lead.
This is a pretty unbelievable start to the series for them. I know a lot of people have had faith in Talon since that first game that we saw up against MIBR. I know some have had it before, Vans, before you tweet at me, I know. But at this point, coming into this game, it's still so. We even had the discussion on the desk, actually. The question was asked, I believe it was Sue asked, at what point do we stop underestimating them? Do we stop calling them the underdog? And this is the thing, we came into this series and we said on the desk, no, like, up against DRX, they're still an underdog. Again, any other team, maybe not, but their play has been remarkable and so far showing a lot of ideas. And the main thing, Tom, when you play against DRX, they get in your head by making you play something else. Talon look comfortable. They're playing their A plan. They're getting aggressive up in their opponents' faces, and ZEST now in a ton of trouble for exactly that reason. I'm loving watching these guys.
Yeah, they took deep B control with Tree, had a sick little smoke that went into some of the stuns that were thrown off the back. Now they've taken the same control and just making sure it's clear on the other side. Now I will say the orbital strike to clear might actually bite them a little bit because it's the A site that's already been taken somewhat, but the spike crossing might be a little bit tougher. I don't think they know Huz is here. In fact, they have no idea.
No clue whatsoever. STAX, though, has fallen, and that's the spike in the open. Might get some of the Talon players to play more aggressive sometimes, but right here, it's just going to be a Viper's pit and a plant. Garnet's finding control over main, though, so these players are stuck inside the pit. Do they try to go elsewhere? We're seeing the Buzz wants to, but Garnets is a little too quick. Now MAKO's all alone. He's suppressed, so he can't throw out his utility. Got to try to fight them up close. He got the man behind. But CRWS, He's had a good game, and I gotta say, a unique playstyle. It's like watching an Angel on Breach or something from back then.
The fact that he's alive at this point in the round is what's surprising to me, because normally he's the almost like the initial point of contact throughout this match.
No, it is actually literally like Angel when he played this agent, right? But the only thing was, on the defense, that wasn't really his vibe. It was more the attack. He's just sprinting in.
That was normally on, like, what, Split? Or
Split,
like
and he would also just blitz those 3 smokes down and then go in, right? So he's not really a controller anymore. But right here, we're just seeing CRWS be like, all right, we're 3 seconds in, I'm rushing main. And I'm here for it.
So this round, it looks like they're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. They're going to do an arcade pinch by the seams of it, because they've got so used to somebody pushing on tree that they're now setting up different utility to try and deny them, and they're going to run all the way up and try and trap them. And he's going to catch him going all the way down at the rope. It doesn't quite get the kill. It's a little bit of damage, and the reaction from DRX is now, okay, let's try and get ourselves into the A site that little bit faster.
Well, a quick kill by STAX. That's caused some problems to try and play for the late round retake. Removed some utility, but they've still got plenty to work with, and it's SUHIBOYS ulti in hand. Still stuns to play with for GARNETS. He's also got his fast lane, and well, there's just a ton of opportunities to work with here. RB has spotted them out. That information is not very helpful. And even a nade going through now quite early on. And look at the aggression. You think because they've got them sectioned off, they'd want to defuse, but instead they're going to fight. Talon are bringing the fight to DRX, and they're winning every duel. Unbelievable play from this team. Now pushing up to 7 rounds and a half that has felt entirely dominated by them. DRX don't look like even a shadow of themselves.
That was disrespectful. Like, that was them hit by a nightfall, so all of them had no sound and had most of their HP taken away, and they're like, okay, guys, let's keep pushing. Ran through their own
When have you ever seen someone put a lockdown in play, said, okay, we forced them all back into this choke point? Everyone from that point goes, let's start the defuse. Let's make them peak. Let's have that last stand, that gunfight right here and now. And instead they went, give me 2 seconds. GARNETS is going to just run into them. Run into the one angle that they're looking at, the only one they need to care about. Unreal. It might be because the nade was on the way through, but I think they had that plan all the time.
They've now got a KILLJOY operator. Like, they really are doing everything. What has just happened? CRWS has just sprayed down 3 players. This team is lighting up the server at the moment. They lost the pistol, and by the looks of it, DRX are still only going to walk out with 4 rounds unless RB can pull off a miracle. He's now stunned up. He's picked up an off. He needs to hit a no-scope, and it's just not happening. Talon, 8-4 in the lead. This is absurd.
This is not the way that I thought this game would go. 8-4, it could easily be even more with the way Talon have played those first couple rounds. DRX were lucky to get out with them, I'll say, at this stage, because they need those foundations to build upon. This guy is just unreal. The level that Talon are bringing to the stage is just beyond belief. With CRWS leading the charge on that Brim, Talon seem to be in a good spot to close out this series. Let's toss it back over to the analyst desk and find out what they think about the rest of this map.
Thank you very much, Mitch and Tom. After all of the slow starts Talon have had in the last couple of matches, Seth, I was not expecting that.
From the outset, they are just absolutely destroying. 8-4 on the half is an incredible scoreline for them to get set up with. And if they can close out this pistol, who knows, maybe they can just take it from there. Because already, that was 6 consecutive rounds to be able to achieve that score. It's an incredible feat here from the side of Talon, and one that we didn't really expect at all. We knew that they were looking good, but this is a completely other level. Bright spot, though, for the side of DRX, it's MAKO. MAKO continues to put up very solid numbers, but right now it feels like he's the only one doing such. Buzz had a decently hot start picking up those couple kills with the paint shells, but it's really only been MAKO who's been able to find some consistent play.
Yeah, and on the Talon side, honestly, part of the reasons they were so good on Fracture last time when they played MIBR was just massively, I don't know what you want to call it, RNG plays, just pulling stuff out of your ass, it felt like. And they were doing it again in this series. But the thing that I loved about Talon so far in that first half, it wasn't just these miracle plays. plays that we're seeing from them, just that. They were doing a really good job of the adaptations to it as well. They adjusted their setup. They noticed that DRX were playing super heavy for that A-Horse control, and they were actually playing to disrupt it a lot in the later section of that first half that we saw. So Talon are actually thinking about this intelligently. They're making correct decisions in terms of how they're adjusting their setups, and they've also got horseshoes somewhere stuck somewhere. I'm not going to repeat the same line as Josh, but listen, they've been getting lucky every now and then, but it hasn't been the only component.
But it's just been nuts, because even though they are going for some really wild plays, they're not getting punished for it. That Brim ult over on Dish.
Oh, that was nuts.
There's just nobody there. They already got the kill on. They already got the kill on ZEST Spade, and that was because they were playing, you know, with good protocols. They said, oh, he might be right side. They flush him out with an aftershock. They get that kill. Then they just Hail Mary, send an orbital strike. So there's still quite a bit of whimsy here for the side of Talon, but just still making it work.
And honestly, call back to the pre-show. We said that there was 2 obstacles. It had to be the rookie stepping up again and the prep difference. So far, it's all coming together. I think they're just overcoming both of them.
Yeah, it's scrappy, but it's great. Valorant, I can't wait to jump into the second half and throw this back over to your casters, Tom and Mitch.
8-4 at the halftime wasn't a scoreline that I would be too shocked if you told me we were about to experience, but I'd be pretty certain we were about to see
Talon need
DRX
to make a comeback,
walking out with with the 8, excuse me. You know, the funny thing as well, just look at that timeline. The 4 rounds that DRX got right smack bang at the start. The pace of this series fully behind Talon, but mainly they had a pistol under their belt as well. DRX had nothing to say in that buy round. I don't know if we're going to...
threw out the boom bot, and because they dodged it, because they sat back, DRX don't realize that there's anyone here. So they're just going to walk all the way up. Buzz has started to go back and try and check for this, but he's only just making the realization as they full execute into the site.
I've never seen DRX look this uncomfortable setting out in a series. Cruz, on the other hand, delivering again and again, but just the 1 kill for him this round. As he goes down, so too does the Spike. A small consolation prize for Talon, but they want a bigger prize looking towards the spawn. A bounty on Zest's head. He's trying to fall back, but there's just too many players coming after him. Good map control, but they've still got the advantage on DRX, fighting their way back in. They can even start to defuse that Spike after the Nano's gone, and the time isn't too far ticked. They need to pick up a kill on the cross here on that attacking side. Instead, they're gonna have to just run at this defuser and try to stop him. The time way too low. DRX, 2 out of 2 in pistols, still 3 behind.
Yeah, the thing is, their adaptation on the fly there, it didn't work as well as they hoped. Like, they wanted to try and get aggressive to find some of the players, fight back, not allow them to go on the retake. But because 3 players came back through from main, the only chance they had was on the cross. And unfortunately, well, we did actually have some investment into the shadow step, which was basically the one thing that you're kind of hoping he didn't have going into that round. So 8-5, as you said, another pistol on the board. There was a spike plant, but it doesn't look like we're going to get too much of an investment here from Talon. But you know what? They've made every round close in this game, whether they've won it or lost it. So I'm not going to hold my breath just yet.
Well, that's exactly it. If there was a team to make that second half comeback to look like a completely new unit, it would certainly be DRX. On the defensive side, it feels like that's typically where you should be the one getting the pace set by your opponent, right? You shouldn't be the one controlling it. From what we saw of Talon, though, here on Fracture, it's definitely a possibility. They've taken the orb, and they're gone runabouts. Moving over towards Dish, whether that's just another orb, but there's a spike there, too. They're trying to sneak their way in. Some spams in the smoke, grab kills, and, well, the late round B is certainly predicted.
Oh, stun in. Oh, it hasn't actually connected somehow. Garnet has managed to make his way around the corner, and you know what? They'll get a plant. Nope, maybe not. Maybe not. Buzz was waiting.
And FOXZ's lurking.
Yeah, I think it was around just an attempt to do as much damage as they possibly could. Unfortunately, it ends up as a Prime Gaming flawless, and DRX are definitely building their way back into this game again.
Oh yeah, look, the pistol, the follow-up. We've seen this before, but remember, they won 4 out of the first 5 rounds and nothing afterwards. For DRX, this is a bit of deja vu. It's a repeat of how we started out the previous. But with the side swap there, there's definitely a tangible difference, or at least there should be. This is the round that Talon won the last time around, and you know, for them, it's understandable coming in with your rifles.
Well, it was still hella close, though. It was like, I think 2 players
saw that
surviving.
fight, yeah.
Not the
It
great
had
start
been a
for MAKO, though.
messy economic start as well. That leads to that. I mean, DRX losing one to start with, it's not ideal, but it's expected in a round like this.
Yeah, and already, again, Garnet taking the space. Good work from ZEST, and Buzz has been picked off. Again, these rounds looking incredibly close, but ZEST should be screwed. Lives a little bit longer than maybe I was expecting. And STAX, he's expected. He was the one sort of point of contact, but he somehow wins that battle as well.
Yeah, this is getting way too close. This round should already be tied up neatly for Talon, but instead DRX are looking for a very early comeback. That flank from FOXZ, expected as well. He's actually looking at this angle. RB, he's got a galaxy brain, but he turned away at the wrong moment. Luckily, the shot whizzed past. He won't be dropped in main. JITBOYS survives, and that's the spike denial. They know now they've got this with a Rolling Thunder. There's no way. And you know what? He's not going to try and deny that fuse with an aftershock. Instead, the Rolling Thunder's put through, committed for the round win. And at a crucial time, because Talon should have won that one with confidence, and instead, they lost 3 players and an ultimate.
Yeah, it's about the same spot they were in the prior. The thing is, they did then go on and manage to clutch the next one with 1 HP, I think it was. So
7,
we've seen them go incredibly close in a lot of these rounds, and now 9-6. Is there going to be a response from DRX? We expect them, to be honest, taking this one not easily, but cleanly. And thus far, Talon have shown they are more than a match for DRX.
And I mean, it's no disrespect to the side of Talon in saying that. It's the regional history of DRX and their performance thus far.
He's just walking it. He's just straight up walking into the site. The rest of the team coming through the other side, but he's getting so much ground. SUHIBOYS might be able to do a huge amount of damage just catching them on that rotation. Not expected, but somehow again, that's 2 rounds in a row. RB should have been dead, and somehow he's still alive.
DRX ending up with a kill out of it as well. The numbers just extend further and further in their favor, all thanks to STAX. Quick 3 kills and an end to that round with DRX pushing up to 7, 2 between them. Still very early days of this half, and you know, we're coming up to the point where Talon started to run away with it, but that right there was a fresh-faced looking DRX when they rolled into that site.
But that's the thing we've learned with DRX over the years, is that ultimately they probably have one of the best mental fortitude of any team out there. They got absolutely spanked on the first map yesterday, came back and did the same in return. We've seen them, even in going back to the likes of Champions, be really far down versus Furia, turn that map into a victory. So being a few rounds down is not something they're going to be too worried about. Whereas for Talon, this is when you need to close out. You do not want to go on to DRX's map choice, letting a game slip.
I mean, it's already a fact for Talon. They've got to be regretting the fact that they've lost both of those pistols. This is a completely different game if that first round of either half goes into their hands. But for now, DRX are using those early half foundations to keep this game competitive. When it comes to buy round versus buy round, the ratio is stacked very heavily in favor of Talon. Again, though, the sides have swapped, and we have seen a significant slowdown. I mean, Talon were suffocating DRX when they were attempting to attack, but now that Talon are mounting the attack, they're certainly running into a lot more resistance. So, not the same kind of defense that they were playing, but, oh wow, this is going to be a speedy one.
Oh, he's almost
Only
just
barely.
died to the utility, and well, STAX, I think, took away his ultimate. MAKO lurking within the smoke, starting to take a lot of damage, just 40 HP remaining. The thing is, though, you can still tell that DRX are tentative to go on the rotation. STAX, though, has just started to connect his shots. A second dropped already, and well, the rest are still stuck by tree.
There's just no need for them to rotate, right? Like, they don't lose players. There's no gaps that they have to fill. And for them, on this defensive side, okay, you lose the one, but
30 seconds left.
they're still keeping themselves in an easy spot. Now, this rotation comes in, but indeed, even though they've rotated RB, he was just watching the door, something he'll still get an audio cue for. He's still close enough to hear, and he's going to be on site to help with this cross. So he can well, unfortunately, Fuzz is going to be forced in the open, so he has to fight. But here is where things are... No! RB!
Oh no, this is horrible. And he's got across now. RB, I don't know how he survives in half of these rounds. There's been about 4 times already that he should have died, and well, this time, if anything, okay, a rifle save for JITBOY. It doesn't matter too much, but even still, that was horrible. I want to bleach my eyes.
That right there was RB playing time. Don't worry about it. He knew he was running the clock down. I'm hearing that from Seth in my ear. It's apparently a very common strategy for DRX to be running, jump in the open, jump around, and
I'd actually like
jump
Seth
up,
to
jump
give
up,
me
and
a
get down.
breakdown of that round.
That would be great,
I think,
actually.
Like a hardcore
We can
analytical
we
segment.
boot up the telestrator, get the clip shipped over there. Seth is he's on his way over now. He's going to get this one for us. Talon even called a timeout just to make sure we can hook up all the cables in time. I'm looking forward to it, Tom. But look, hopefully we don't see too many more rounds like that as we rock on into round number 18. As we said, Talon calling a timeout, and you cannot blame them. I think in terms of the rounds that really matter, your buy rounds, when you've got your old econ management coming up, Talon have looked like the better team. But despite that, they only have a 1-round lead to deal with. It sucks losing both pistols and having the start of the half go that way, but for Talon, it's now or never, really, because DRX will run away with this game if they win this round.
That's the thing as well. They now have the ults to play with. Lockdown, orbital strike. Not only can you force them off position, but you can trap them in positions, almost having the null command online as well, and with 4 orbs around the map, I feel like they should be able to get that in fairly easy. Buzz has his showstopper potentially, and again, he'll probably battle for an orb somewhere in this round, but it depends what DRX want to do. I'd almost be inclined to say you're either going to look to push, get aggressive, try and take the early fights, or just try and play a retake.
So it was 4 of the first 6 they won last time, DRX. Now they're on 4 of the first 5. Not too bad. Let's see how the rest of this half goes for them. Rifles up on Talon. As we said, ultis online, close to a null command. And early round, they are making their way up to Dish. That orb is theirs. We should see a null command online.
Yeah,
They're
this
going for
control
something.
is nice though. Just having that might be able to deny the lockdown. It's dependent on whether or not they actually need it. The dancing man of Garnet was just the distraction. And now STAX, well, he's managed to find one on the other side in the orbital strike. They've used it just to try and get them the plant guaranteed and deny a little bit of extra space. And DRX has said, you know what? I'm not about this life. I'm peacing out.
Well, in all seriousness, I would love to see Seth break down that one, because that was actually a gorgeous round. Everything about that for Talon, the fact that Garnets just serves as a distraction diving into the site. Not in 1, but 2 kills. I love this guy. He's so good. He is a stand-in. He's just supposed to be replacing a dude who had surgery, replacing Patapan at that. Those are big shoes to fill. Historic shoes within this game, within other esports titles too. He comes in as someone relatively unknown, regionally all right.
18 years of age.
18 years old in front of a crowd. And this is what he's delivering. Okay, again, in that round, he goes on the site. He distracts the player on site so that his teammate can grab the kill. I believe it was FOXZ.
Yep.
And then a stun comes in. He's staring at the main guy, spraying away at Buzz, telling him, oh, look at me, buddy. I'm going to come kill you. I'm about to dash in. And Buzz, rightfully so, looks at him. And then his teammates come out of main and kill Buzz. I think it was SUHIBOYS. Just look, he's going down. He's distracting 3 of STAX that killed him. So 3 different players are fighting that man. He kills no one, but he wins the round for his team because all 3 of them end up falling. STAX survives, right? He runs away to save, but they grab the 3 kills, they grab the side, and that's all they need. I love watching this team, honestly.
Yeah, and this is crunch time now. DRX taking a timeout because financially they're somewhat in the bin. It's been a quiet performance for RB, even though he's been, well, living in the matrix, dodging everything that gets put in front of him. And again, with that lockdown still online and the null command, you're almost sat there waiting for that afterplan to come through. Like, it's such powerful ultimates to get you into that sort of position. You can already see the pings coming in on the map, out from that attacking side, potentially going to go for that B hit. And I honestly expect this round there has to be something from DRX to take some space. If you sit back and you allow them to use these ults, you're almost just taking a massive risk that you can catch someone.
Especially coming out of this timeout, you have to imagine they've got an idea for where the showstopper is going to go. You don't come into a round like this and just leave that on the back burner if the opportunities present themselves. And for Talon, that's somewhere that could cause problems if they decide to go for a faster push if they didn't have that null command. Being able to fight into the site early on, straight blitz. I almost expect it. It looks like a south side crunch going to be attempted here.
Oh,
Wow.
gets hit by the turret.
Good counter
That
to a
must have been
showstopper.
an insta-dink, and then the turret kills him out. That is about as cursed as you can be for Buzz. And well, we've seen Talon do that many rounds with those tree pushes, but I don't think any of them went as bad as that.
Well, Timmy's opening duel stats looking pretty solid in this one. 2 rounds between them, and DRX man disadvantage, showstopper removed from this, and we have a minute on the clock still. I think it's fair to say Talon can take it where they want to, and where they want to go is onto the B side. Lockdown comes into play.
They have to move.
There's nothing you can do to counter this.
It's a bait play. It's a bait play. They're trying to go back to the A side, but once again, DRX haven't moved all of their players. MAKO, he started to move, and he's going to go down for it. CRWS was none the wiser that he was even there. The thing is, though, this will allow for the rotation. They've spotted that cross, and ZEST has gone through. He's trying to get into this site as quickly as possible, knowing that their afterplant has been sublime. But it's even better for Talon when they try to fight them. Face forward, it works out null. As 11-8, Talon are running away with this.
DRX might be strong in those regional matches historically, but this opening map certainly not looking good for them. The turret besting FOXZ puts them 3 rounds up on Talon. They only use their lockdown, so they're still going to have a null command to fight their way through, and look at the frustration visible. DRX, they're facing a challenge like they've never faced before, and this is single elimination. They can't afford to make a mistake. They can't slip up here. And right away, Talon not giving them a moment of solace. They are on their way towards the site. Fast lane goes up, and the fight is bad. Buzz having a mare.
Nice shot from ZEST. Oh, a chance to even get 2, but then the trades come back thick and fast. Only 1 man standing, and STAX is down as well. They fought from a deficit in their prior match versus Cloud9. It is looking like they're going to have to fight from a deficit again with a 4-round advantage, a streak of 3 for Talon, and just 1 needed to take this map over the line. I'm not going to lie, I think most people expected this to be a fast game. A 2-0 of sorts, and DRX sauntering their way into the semi-finals. Right now, we don't know if they're getting there at all.
No matter what player, what coach, what region they even come from. I spoke to a lot last night, and the common theme seemed to be, is this finally Korea's time? Is this DRX, Vision Strikers, finally having their moment at the top? And it, you know, it looked like it. I was starting to believe, but it turns out this actually might be the Thai era. Talon coming in with some incredible performances so far in this tournament. We always had that little caveat of like, what if it's a top 4 team? Are they there yet?
Yeah.
Sure looks like it. Rolling Thunder right away. Talon, they got STAX to deal with. He has been a consistent, phenomenal factor, but for GARNETS to pick up the back line, delete ZEST. Hold on, there's the flank from MAKO. The spray was a little whiffy, but he got there in the end.
Yeah, and this allows for the rotation. They were pressured, the flash is avoided, but Buzz, he's going to come out with 2. Finally stepping up to the marker, and the trades are fantastic as well. Leaves just SUHIBOYS. 1v4, and he has to try and get past MAKO. He will not be able to. DRX, this time they catch them before they can throw a spanner in the works. And they're still fighting their way back through, but there is so much finances available for this Talon squad. They are not having any troubles at all.
GARNETS still so much fun to watch. Early aggression out of him, and to be putting DRX in a position where they're on the back foot so frequently. I mean, we're actually seeing this team have to not only think about what you're doing, have to set up for it, and even then, having ZEST in a good position to catch that push through from GARNETS, the dude's just winning the fights when he goes for it. Like, you kind of, it's not even just about predicting them. Even then, it's hard to follow through with the win. DRX need 3 in a row. They have some ultis to play with, but they've got to be cautious about when they use them. They've got to preserve them, and MAKO barely preserved his life.
He might have to use one now. Viper's Pit to try and slow them down. They're going to take positioning below. Now, Opwise on the other side, there's not much. SUHIBOYS just almost trying to find that initial pick with the operator, and there's aggression all across the map. North side, ZEST has taken that control. A main still held by Buzz. They are almost sandwiching them at this point, and they have every piece of information they could need.
Yeah, it's a great starting point for this round. DRX have definitely set themselves up for success in the flank from ZEST. No better than any other opportunity they had. Still just 1 kill for it, and no responses. I mean, here for Talon getting to reset, that's a pretty damn good start to the round.
Going back. That's the thing. They have started to do the same thing again and again with these rotations, so they have to split 2 and 2. They're so wary that there's going to be a push back in the other direction. Bear in mind, MAKO already tagged low on the site, so he needs to just sit back and relax and just support onto STAX, but that's exactly what he's done. And now, with a late move back in the other direction, it leaves CRWS to try and fight alone on this side of the map. He might just be able to get an afterplant, but STAX is rotating back around.
Well, this could be it for STAX if he has the timing, and the shot is hit every time. With CRWS down, the round follows, and DRX's comeback may just be on 2 more to push us up to an overtime. And right there, you know, it was I feel like a blip on the communication spectrum. We ended up with MAKO playing anti-flash behind that wall, but they actually just spotted FOXZ on the other side of the map. So they knew at that point you're not going to end up with a flash coming through. They could put 2 and 2 together in time. He just got executed. Despite that, though.
The thing is as well, though, like, I feel like Talon right now, they're trying to play so much with those rotations that it seems like they're very, very split on a lot of these battles. And it's giving some individual fights to players like Buzz, which, okay, initially he was losing those fights. Now he's starting to come back into the game. This is definitely starting to slip away from Talon, but they do have some really strong ults coming into this round. But again, DRX, they haven't actually used any of theirs over the last couple.
Quickly back across the wire. FOXZ is going to be bailing. Full south side play out of Talon. They're looking for some control on this B side. Gotta get themselves arcade. Cautious of any pushes. But with no utility watching north or south side, I mean, at this point, it genuinely looks like they were just waiting for the aggression. They very much expected it to be coming through. That is a very interesting Viper's Pit. They're gonna play further off, but what control does this give them for the late round, you know?
I think they were expecting the push to come from that position in arcade, but it has also held them in. If he goes through the edge here, SUHIBOYS has a free kill. He's just trying to play the timing, and actually the pit's gonna get dropped. He's just let his teammate die dropping that, and SUHIBOYS comes out with both. It couldn't have gone any worse for DRX, and now the remaining 2 are trying to make that space back in. There's so much still to find, and although it's a little whiffy initially, it's Buzz to try and face off versus 3. The turret even giving them the info. There is no hope for DRX. Talon have taken map number 1, and tell me now, who predicted that?
They are making noise down there in between. I mean, the entirety of this Talon roster delivering. GARNETS has to be a take-home name after this tournament. He has been unbelievable. The role he's playing here as well. I mean, he's got more assists than I can count. That board certainly doesn't show every fight that he was involved in, blitzing into sites, but between Jit and Sushi, they are them boys. Finding that first map and putting DRX in the back foot. It's not the first time we've seen DRX there, though. They are one of the best teams at making that fight back, that reverse
lost
sweep.
the map in each series so far this tournament. It hasn't been the end of them. They lost the second versus BBL, they lost the first versus Cloud9, so let's not pretend that this is a team that's just going to crumble under the pressure.
Not at all.
But at the same time, the stories we've had throughout Valorant, sure, you've got the likes of Loud, NRG, or Optic as they were. You've got the story of FPX, now Na'Vi. One of the greatest stories we've had in the VCT is those surprise factors coming out of Pacific. Talk about that Zeta story, PaperX, and maybe, just maybe, now Talon are going to make that list as well. They are a map away from making it into the top 4 of this event. Sure, it's one of those events that's a little bit spicy, it's a little bit different, but if you came in and predicted that they were going to beat